holds a bachelor's degree in marketing, certificate in administration and management from GIMPA. The man has started a business and grown it to almost a decade, seen it fall flat on his face, and picked it up by the scruff of his neck and repositioned it. And so I thought it would be nice to get a practical insight into how we can use service quality and positive customer experience to differentiate building your business or a brand. As you all know, building a successful brand or business is beyond having a good product or great pricing. Because the human being today is far more complex than it used to be many years ago, and the change and the evolution is even more rapid. My guest today is Emmanuel Awume of Sesil Ventures. Emmanuel, you're welcome to the Executive Lounge.
Thank you.
And it's good to catch up with you.
Yes.
How have you been?
Oh, it's been great. Challenging though, but you got to keep your head afloat and keep pushing it through.
Okay. Yes. And to all our listeners who've just tuned in, we're live on Joy 99.7 FM, and we're also around the world at myjoyonline.com, also on facebook.com/joy997fm. Now, if you want to tweet, just mention me in the tweet as at @GHRainmaker or hashtag Executive Lounge. We're exactly 16 minutes into the hour of 1 in the afternoon, and we're going all the way till 2 p.m. The WhatsApp line to use if you have questions or insights you'd like to share, as well as Telegram, is 0244 340 437. So we're going straight into our conversation. Now, Emmanuel, it's quite interesting, but lots of entrepreneurs often say that was not the intended, vocation.
Right.
That they started out going to school with a certain career path in mind, and then somewhere along the line they realized that they had to do things their way, become entrepreneurs, and find problems and fix them.
Good.
Did you start out wanting to be a car care consultant?
It did start when I had to go through the regular educational system that has been set down for us through the primary to the SHS, then to the secondary. Now JSS, then to SHS. Now, in my second year at SHS, which we call secondary, then my time. Good. I realized, I had a strong passion into automobiles.
Okay.
All right. And so looking at it, I realized I really want to dive deep into automobile engineering. And so I felt technical school was my best option. But then there was this societal stigma thing about technical schools and vocational school thing. And so when I proposed it to my parents, they didn't want to let me go there. It might sound and look as if probably because I'm not intelligent, probably that's why I'm opting for a technical program. But I insisted that honestly that is what I want to do. That's my passion, and I had to terminate my secondary education and follow through to the technical school.
Wow.
So eventually my mom intervened and got him to realize that I used to be playing with these Miltons and forming cars here and there, playing with cars all over, trying to feed it into electronic gadgets and just trying to understand the nitty-gritty of things. And so he encouraged him that they should allow me to take my start. And so they enrolled me into the technical school where I graduated from the technical school and won the best student among the best 25 technical students all over Ghana.
Wow.
And I became the first to have won a bronze medal from City and Girls of London Institute. Okay, so that gave me an encouragement that, the decision I took to want to develop my career at the early stage was right. My parents were also encouraged by that deed. And so I followed suit to University of Science and Technology, School of Mines, Takwa, where I pursued the further studies, advanced studies in automobile engineering.
Right.
I graduated, I did my national service, And so I then decided to join the entrepreneurial field. Okay, so I wanted to understand the dynamics within the business environment. So I did not just join the entrepreneurial ecosystem immediately. I needed some mentorship. So I had to attach myself to a company where I was employed as the administrative secretary. Good. So I managed that position for 6 years. Then I got to understand the dynamics within the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and so I resigned. Now, when I resigned, I didn't have capital to actually start this auto business. And so what I did was trying to pick up innovative ideas that I have that I can turn around to make money out of them. So I went into office setup business, where I tried to restructure office environment to suit the way a particular customer wants it. And so because I have this technical drawing abilities, and so I went into that, and also office equipment supplies. You know, so what I do is I come to your office, try to find out what you need, and then I go out there, look out for those who have these products, get them supply, and then make my little profit. Okay, so I kept doing that, and it was within that time also that mobile phones also came into the system. So that was also another avenue where which I used to try to generate income. It went on and on until I have to even go into pavement block making. Yeah, so I went into pavement block making for a while, all in the name of raising capital to start the main business. And this took me about 5 years in trying to raise funds to start the main business, which is that Sesil, as you see today.
Wow.
Good. So after raising that amount, I then stopped with all these other petty businesses that I was doing all the way around, and then initiated with Sesil. Now, to start with Sesil also, it wasn't easy. Now, I bought my first machine that sat in my room for like 3 years whilst trying to really pile up all that I need to be able to initiate. So what I did was to design a system, because I studied the environment and I realized in the automobile industry we have 3 major maintenance schedules. That is the mechanical maintenance, the interior maintenance, and the exterior maintenance. But in our jurisdiction, we tend to focus much on the mechanical maintenance. And so I decided to focus on the interior and exterior. Now, within the interior and exterior maintenance schedule, within our system, it's been limited to car wash. So you just take your car to the washing bay, they wash it, clean it up, and that's it. But then my research into the industry got me to realize that it's quite a deep, big industry that have a lot of potential and need to be studied and understand the various nitty-gritties within that industry to set up. But then I decided to take the challenge, even though it wasn't a popular concept detailing around 2000. And so I took up that challenge, and then I said, what can I do to differentiate myself from the other mass washing bays all over? So I said, no, I need to create a niche for myself by using the right products and following the right technologies in car detailing. And so how do I do that? It will take the middle and upper class to probably understand the concept, because it goes with a bit of cost. And so I started targeting the corporate organizations. And so I designed a system that could move from one location to the other. That becomes a mobile detailing service.
So I'm just breaking in just at this point to just make sure that if anyone just joined us at 23 minutes past 1, this is the Executive Lounge, and my guest is Emmanuel Awume. He's the CEO of Sesil Ventures. Now, he started out, of course, first with your passion, and you were able to have a chat with your parents and got your mom
to my place.
Onto your side, and of course she made a case for you to pursue a vocational or a technical education that allowed you to follow your passion, which is automobiles. Now, after that, you mentioned something quite critical, that when you were starting out, You didn't have capital.
Yes.
But you didn't give up. You started by undergoing some form of training. You attach yourself to an organization.
Yes.
What did that teach you?
It taught me the reality on the ground when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Viewing it from afar, it looked that easy. You see those who are already in it operating seamlessly. And so it felt that easy. But then when I associated myself with this organization, I got to realize that it isn't as easy as I thought it was. Because there were quite a number of challenges to be going through in terms of even raising capital to maintain the business running, paying salaries of even workers. I mean, being able to pay utilities, how to even manage customers, keep and sustain them. You know, there were a whole lot of dynamics within the sector. That is what I really learned. And so I realized if I had just jumped in directly, I would have made more mistakes than I made. Exactly.
Now, talking about mistakes, at what point did you realize that in the scheme of things, be it mistakes or failure to adhere to certain things, or the lack of the knowledge at that time, contributed to the failure of the business in its early in the first time around?
Good. I think what I learned was quite encouraging because I really tapped into the knowledge of my then boss a lot that got me to start. Now, when I started, business started doing so well, okay, because I had to get one of the corporate organization to allow me space within their premises to detail their vehicles. And so, but then what they told me was that I was going to be restricted in only detailing staff and company vehicles.
Okay.
They weren't going to allow cars coming from the public into the space.
Right.
But then I took advantage of that because I was dealing with the middle and upper class persons. And these are people who really understand my concept and help me market it. And so I took advantage and decided to do that. Now, when I started, another corporate organization, I sent a proposal there. They bought into the idea. But what they told me was that they can't get me space within their premise. So if I can have my own location, then they can arrange to bring their executive vehicles.
Oh, okay.
And so that challenged me because when I realized two corporate organizations have shown interest in my product, I then have to now try to get a permanent location to myself. So I started looking out for a space when I got a place within the Nyadiba estate, someone's home, okay, a space that can take just one car at a time, gated community. And so I accepted it and took up the challenge because I said, how will they see me? How will people know I'm in there? But I said, the product quality will sell for itself.
Okay.
Depend on recommendation from the few people you work for. They will go sell you. So I took up the challenge, and trust you me, when I moved in there, I got all these corporate organizations following me out there.
Now that's quite interesting. And,
Yeah.
and you talk about, the product quality being how you will be noticed.
Exactly.
How did you come to the point where you knew that if you did A, B, and C and tick those boxes, you would have satisfied the clientele you have to the extent that they would rather come to you than go anywhere else? How did you craft that customer experience that made them come back and tell others about you?
Good. The key is research in that particular industry.
Okay.
Now, doing the market survey, you look at your competitors. What are they doing? Are they really applying the right technologies to really give customers what they need? Because the customer comes to you coming with an expectation, and he wants to pay for that expectation, not for your service. You are rendering a service, but the customer is paying for his or her expectation. And so I have to research to find out what can I do to really meet those customer expectations in the car detailing industry.
Right.
So my research revealed to me a whole lot of products that, when well used, and the mode of application and all that, can bring you the best outlook of your car, which is different from the way others are doing it. And so that gave me the cue. And so I started investing into products. And fortunately, I got someone outside the country who I could link up with to get the products in because we didn't have them on the market.
Okay.
And I dwelt on that. So that was my strong point. And so I use that to create a niche.
Okay, so of course, you invested in understanding the space within which you are.
Exactly.
The acquisition of that knowledge, of course, led you to knowing that the products you need to make that difference was out there.
Exactly.
Now, let's go beyond the tools of the trade. So you've bought the chemicals you need and everything to detail a vehicle. And some guy sets up right next to you. How have you been able to distinguish your service that you give? So outcome remaining the same.
The same, right.
But what is different along the path that makes people take their cars to your
Service
center from across the country?
Good. Customer is key to me.
Okay.
Now, how do I survive? I only survive based on the customer. So my preference goes to the customer, how to always satisfy the customer. Now, there was a situation where I had to let a customer drive his car away off 1,800 Ghana cedis of a job done.
Okay.
Why? Because he complained at the end of the day he wasn't satisfied with something.
Okay.
And that thing could be done but at another time. But then he wanted to make payment. And I said, until I get your satisfaction, I cannot take that money, because the money is meant for your satisfaction, not for the service I rendered. He was taken aback, because that was about 5 days of work on the car. All right. So he left, came back at another point in time before I accepted that. And that is one of the ethics I practice at my end. If a customer does not get his satisfaction, I don't have a cause or a reason to take your money.
Okay.
And so those are some of the practical things I do, and giving a lot of prime attention to customers. That is, aside the tools, that gives me the edge.
As a hands-on leader, I mean, I've seen you at work.
Sure.
It's not just that you have a team that do the work, but you do the work yourself. You roll up your sleeves and get involved.
Yes.
So as the vision bearer, I can appreciate that you would pretty much go to sleep and dream about the business and wake up knowing what you need to do to please a customer. But when you work in a human institution, you have people who wouldn't always remember to consistently deliver that quality you're looking for. How have you ensured that the quality that I get on a Monday when you're around would be the same maybe on a Thursday afternoon, where maybe you're doing the school run or you're delivering a vehicle to a client or picking up a vehicle?
Good. This is where structuring and training is critical. Structuring your business outlay. What are the procedures that need to be followed to come up with a particular result? You put them down. Now, those who are going to be in charge of going through those procedures, what do they need? They need training. So I spend much time in training, and also spend much time in ensuring that procedures are followed.
Okay.
So now, a practical example of this is, it helped me create a niche and a particular brand, such that I found myself in one particular company's premises where I operated for some time and had to close down after the contract was over. Now, 6 months into the line, I received a call from a customer asking me, what is wrong with your staff? What is wrong with your service? It seems your service is going down. Then I told him, no, I have moved off that premises for almost a year now.
So that service you're getting is not my service?
That service you're getting is not mine. Then he went like, oh, now I understand. Because this is the third time I drove into that premises and have to drive away. And I said, well, that is what you say. We try to keep to our brand. So wherever the branch that we have, because of the structuring and the training, you get the system running even without me.
Right.
And so I focus a lot on training and putting the right structures in place to keep the standards going.
How would you, beyond just training, I mean, so if Sesil opened another 3-4 locations across the country, you physically can't be everywhere. How do you foresee the brand maintaining its standards across different locations?
Good. I, at a point, had about 5 branches, and it worked. But then it put a lot of pressure on me because of the type and caliber of human resource or human capital I needed to employ. You know, in our jurisdiction, you hardly want to get a graduate wanting to work in an industry like ours, not even a polytechnic graduate. And so you are dealing with school dropouts and people who are on vacation after SHS wanting to go to the university or proceed with their education and have nothing doing. They are such group of people I'm able to recruit. And so you need to keep following up. And that is one of the biggest challenge we have in the industry. You know, because of maybe their level of education and awareness, they tend to take things for granted most of the time. They take customers for granted. They take procedures and training issues for granted. And so you need to have an eye consistently. And that is actually why I'm into this full time. So I need to have consistency in following up through all the branches, you know, to make sure the standards are being kept. But then at a point, I had to go back to school. And so supervision slowed down. And then it started affecting the brand image because I started receiving calls from customers using some of the other branches of we not living up to expectation. And I realized that was affecting the brand. And so that culminated with other issues. I had to close most of the branches down to reduce the number such that I can have a visual eye and in monitoring and ensure that the brand is kept.
You know, if you look at the fact that you tried to expand, well, first of all, expand, you also wanted to improve on your own breadth of knowledge, so you went back to school. It seems as though the business requires you physically present to function. How are you going to take it from where it is now to a point where it functions well and you have, like you said, the structures and things you're putting in place takes over? What's it going to take for you to run this thing almost like it's automatic?
Yeah, it will take having the right human capital. Being able to get, for instance, maybe polytechnic graduates or even technical graduates or university graduates who will understand the future of this industry, who will really understand that having a business within the informal sector does not necessarily take you away from your pride of being an educated person. You know, there need to be a mindset change. And so until I could achieve that, what I'm doing is trying to look at the dropouts that I pick now. There are some of them that are very intelligent and that have found their way to realize that this is an industry they really want to get into. And so when I recruit, I try to look out for some of these minds. And so I try to do sort of like a succession plan. And so I have quite a number of them now who are really gripped on the ground and who can operate that business in my absence. Sometimes I come to work and I just get myself stuck in the office without stepping out. I have CCTV cameras fixed all around, so I keep monitoring them, their attitude, their behavior, the way they approach work and all that in my absence. And I realize they keep doing it. I sometimes travel, leave them, I'm monitoring them from afar because we have some of these technologies that you can monitor on phone, you know. So when I'm far away, I'm still monitoring and ensuring that things are moving well. And they've really have been able to do that.